The narcissist manipulates, digging up the past. It is an essential method of maintaining our control over you by bringing up the past. We are always able to recall some past wrong which you have committed, or some particular transgression which we will use to suit our current purposes. Being able to bring up the past allows us to deflect your attacks against us, deny the validity of what you are saying, and instead enables us to put you under scrutiny. We have a formidable capability for remembering what has happened before. It is as if each event in our lives together has been recorded in our mind's eye, and in a moment I can locate the exact memory, circumstances, and events in order to support my position and demolish yours. The pinpoint accuracy by which I could dredge something up which happened months or even years ago is quite staggering. It is all the more amazing because our kind always seem to forget about events which you try and rely on. That is because we suggest that you have such a tendency to make things up, haven't you? It is quite a terrible habit that you have, lying in order to make me feel bad. It's not something you would find me doing. Absolutely not. Of course, the fact that we state that when you bring up matters from the past is you telling a lie is based on the fact that a lesser or mid-range narcissist truly does not recall the event or does not recall the event happening in that way and therefore accuses you of lying. They actually believe that you are lying because their narcissistic perspective means that it automatically rewrites history so that they do not, in that moment, recall that event of having happened or it having happened in that particular way. That is entirely necessary because the narcissism has to maintain control in that moment. And that means the narcissist will say or do instinctively anything in order to maintain that control. And therefore, if the most appropriate way of maintaining control is to deny something you are referring to from the past, the narcissist will deny it. The lesser or mid-range narcissist does not stand there and think, I know this happened, but I will tell a lie about it. That takes too long. That is a thought process, which would mean that his defences are breached. Instead, there is an instinctive response, which is to deny that it ever happened, and the lesser or mid-range narcissist actually believes that it did not happen. Of course, at a later juncture, if the narcissism decrees that the most appropriate thing is to admit that event, even though denied 3 days ago, actually did occur, then it will be admitted. Of course, when you point out, oh, now you're admitting it, 3 days ago you denied this ever happened, you know what's coming next, the narcissist will deny that he denied it 3 days ago. Why? Because the narcissism in that moment must rewrite history, and therefore matters will be brought up from the past by us, but when you try and do it, because it is an attack against the narcissist, it will be denied and rejected. Of course, with the greater narcissist, the greater knows that you're telling the truth about what happened in the past, but it serves his purpose to deny it or twist it, and he knows that he's doing it, but because of his greater effectiveness, he is able to do this notwithstanding awareness, and therefore the greater knows that they are telling the lie when they deny your recollection of history. You abide by the concept of that once something has been put to bed, that is the end of the matter. It is done. It is concluded. It is finished. We do not subscribe to that point of view. In fact, anything that has happened between us, which we need to resurrect in order to advance our case against you, is never concluded. It may be buried, but it is never buried dead. All the discussions, happenings, and events, even though they may have been discussed, dissected, and mulled over to an extraordinary degree many moons ago, are ready to be brought back to life in the click of a finger and thumb. That argument about the one time in the last 6 months when you actually went out with your friends, although that of course was not without a monumental battle beforehand, began when you returned 5 minutes later than when you said you would return. Your late return, of course, wounds the narcissist, and therefore the response is to attack you. The discussion rumbled on late into the night until, finally tired and fed up, you conceded defeat, apologised and sloped off to bed. All delight from your enjoyable evening with your friends had evaporated as a consequence of our ranting and raging. You knew that the argument had been done to death. There was not really anything to argue about to begin with, not that that stopped us going round and round in circles in order to frustrate you. This argument was complete, and there was no need for it to be mentioned ever again. Except there is. You organised to go and see a show with your friends. It had been in the diary for at least 8 weeks, and you headed away looking forward to enjoying it. It was one of your favourites, one you had loved since you were a little girl. You knew that we were not pleased. You could see it in the frozen smile we gave when we came out to say hello to your friends. Not, of course, that we were interested in being polite to your friends as they waited in the car. No, we wanted to see who was going, checking up to see if your story was true. We kissed you and wished you a delightful evening, although you knew underneath we would be raging that we were left to make our own meal, and we were left alone for the evening. All of which wounds the narcissist, because your fuel has been directed elsewhere. The show was magnificent, and your friends excellent company. But the traffic leaving the venue was heavy, and you returned home half an hour later than you had estimated. Note, it was an estimate, not a guaranteed time by which you would return. Not that this fact would make any difference to us. You sent us a text message. You did not want the embarrassment of a horrible telephone call as you sat in your friend's car, advising of the delay and why it had occurred. You received no response from us. That told you everything you needed to know. You entered the house and found us waiting, arms crossed and eyebrows raised. What time do you call this? The accusation is launched. There is no hello, no asking how the show went or whether you enjoyed the evening. Your late return has further wounded the narcissist, and already having been painted black by the narcissist for going out and doing something on your own, your late return exacerbated how black you have been painted. Your response of, sorry the traffic was bad, did you get my text, is met with, yes, but that is not the point. You are late again. You do this on purpose, don't you? What do you mean again? You respond. Your own knee-jerk reaction to the unfair accusation that we have thrown at you. But as soon as the last word has left your mouth, you know what is coming. You can almost hear the vault door being opened and the relevant deposit box being selected, the tiny key being inserted and turned. We respond with, you were late the last time you went out. But that was 6 months ago, you protest. It was 5, actually. It was March. It doesn't matter if it was yesterday or yesteryear. You are late, and you said you would not be. You are a liar. I'm a liar, you say. Hurt, irritated. Oh, come on, you come in late every week, either from a bar or some work meeting, and I never complain. Yes, you do. You complained last Friday, and I told you that I had to meet those clients in the bar. It was a business meeting. You didn't tell me anything of the sort. I rang you 6 times to find out where you were. It was 8 times, actually, and I did not answer because I was busy with the clients. As I told you, I remember distinctly explaining that to you. You didn't. You really didn't. Look, this is the first time I've been out in an age. I'm home now. Let me tell you about the show. Of course, your attempt to deflect in this way is merely challenging the narcissist further. The narcissist, however, wishes to assert his superiority over you, wishes to attend for the wounding that you've caused, and now the continuing challenge that is occurring. No, responds the narcissist, you are not distracting me with tales about songs and dance routines. I'm sick of you disrespecting me in this fashion. You always come back late when you are out with those harpies. Why say that? You ask, hurt by the remark about your friends. Because they are a bad influence on you. They got you drunk that time. Do you remember you threw up in the sink when you got in and then on the floor? I've never done that. You've done that. Don't try and twist things round. I remember distinctly seeing you stagger through the door because I was sat in that chair watching the news. You were asleep upstairs and I wasn't drunk. I don't get drunk. Oh, really? I can remember at least 5 occasions when you have come home rat-arsed, banging into the walls and crawling up the stairs. There was that time you went with Sandra to that new bar, apartment it was called. What are you going on about? No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Are you calling me a liar? Remember, I have a far better memory than you. Yours is obviously addled by all the drinking that you do. And on it goes. Past misdemeanours, both real and imagined, are brought up and levelled against you. Bringing up the past, whether it is something that actually had happened or something that the narcissist has created as a consequence of the necessity of control over you, is good for all occasions. If you accuse us of flirting with someone, we then will remind you of your brazen behaviour with our brother. If you complain because we had not taken the rubbish out, we will remind you how you forgot to pick up our dry cleaning on 3 separate occasions. Accuse us of overspending, and we will revisit your last 3 shopping trips and reel off every item that you purchased. The confidence with which we describe these past events has you bewildered, and at times you become unable to recall whether we're actually correct or whether in fact we are making it up. You often do think that we are making things up, but the conviction we demonstrate has you doubting your own recall. This technique is used by us frequently. It is part of the first line of narcissistic defence, by denying, and then it moves the subject of the argument onto you, by making accusations with regard to your behaviour by either digging up real events from the past or digging up imagined events from the past. We cause you to go on the defensive. It frustrates, angers and upsets you, so that you provide us with fuel and has you often apologising so that we know we've landed a blow and laid down a marker. Reminding you of the past, real or imagined, is something that we will do frequently. What is behind using this manipulative technique to acquire fuel and control? Simple. We are bringing up the past because we feel that our control in the present is being eroded by you. And we must have control at all times of the here and of the now.